Hey guys, it's Will here. I'm going to go through the markets again. These charts are using Heikin-Ashi candles, which kind of averages the previous day as well and smooths out some of the trends. If you go up here and say edit, you can change the candles here, plot style, Heikin-Ashi, line charts. I like candlesticks, but Heikin-Ashi is, and then, smoother, and you can also change the colors if you want to just use black and white or whatever like that. If you want to get a free trial of TC2000, check out the link in the description below. You can get a free trial or $25 off your subscription. I've got the gold plan and US real-time data. So in a lot of these videos, I like to show a different feature of this program, from the watch list. So what I have right up here is different tabs, and each one is different watch lists and scans. So right here, I've got markets. So if I click on watch list, it shows you can use all the built-in ones. There's US stocks, US indices, ETFs, pre-market. There's the sector and industry, which are the higher level sectors. And then you've got personal. So I've set up a bunch of personal. So I've sort of filtered out a lot of my favorite ETFs and inverse funds and leveraged ETFs, instead of just scanning the whole, the whole database, or in addition to scanning the whole database. So the tabs are nice because you have a lot of data in a short, in a small space. Anyway, let's go through. I can turn on the another feature here is the include the pre-market. So what I'm seeing now is you can see that it went from negative to positive for some of these because it's showing this morning. But let's take a look. So we got the Nasdaq here. It's been in a big downtrend. It kind of broke it. What people look for a lot of times, like in uptrends, if you want to get in on an uptrend, is for a pullback and then another leg up, which would give you a higher low here. And so we didn't really get that. What happened was it bounced off the 200 here and here, and then sort of failing now below the 50-day moving average. This obviously isn't good. If you look at the momentum, you have a downward sloping momentum. But on the daily charts, like this momentum can switch quickly from down to upwards. But we're getting below the zero line, which is a weaker section. So not looking great. You can look at longer term indices as well to get a sense of the bigger, stronger trends. And you can see here that we've sort of bounced up off the 50-week. So there's a couple of green candles with green volatility stops, and then it's kind of bounced off there. So, we'll have to see if it supports at this line below here. But, that's not a great scenario for the Nasdaq. And you can see right here, the momentum kind of goes curling up and then it kind of curved back. Sometimes it's tempting to get in once you start seeing an upward sloping momentum, but you can see what happens here, how it turned around. Over here in the March 2020 crash, it reversed really quickly. But this blue line, which is the moving average, never got below zero. It kind of curved and went up again. And this one here is below, the moving average is below zero. So the moving average is obviously a slower moving line and more shows a trend more strongly, and this is heading downward. So let's look at IWM. It's been in kind of this channel here, but we're right near the bottom of it. So the momentum is right on the line, like it's hugging this line. So it's not a strong crossover. It's sort of flat. So it's in a precarious situation. Not very good either. Let's see, S&P 500. Let me turn off that for a second. You can see we crossed below the 50-day, or I'm on the week, sorry. Let's go back to the daily. So we're kind of below the 50-day, but we're also below the 200. And it kind of tried right that one day, Wednesday, to try to come up and it bounced off the, roughly the 200. And now we're, downward sloping momentum here. So, it's not a great situation for, definitely for shorter term trading. A lot of times when you're below the 50, you'll hit off of the 50 or the 200. And, so anyway, it's in this declining state. If we go back to the weekly chart, you can see we had this little curve up and then it's come back. So there was a good response, but it's now curving back down again. So, it's not looking great right now on the weekly chart. And then if we go to monthly, there's been a cross down, but we're still above these volatility stops. But there's been some these are small little doji type candles. They're not hugely strong, but we'll have to see. Dow Jones has been slightly better in terms of its, the look of the chart, but it's below the 50. We have really small candles here. 50 week, I'm going to go back to the daily chart, and we're kind of stuck in between the 200 and the 50. The 50's crossed the 200, and, it's trying to make it, like the last couple of days here, it was trying to pull up here. So we'll have to see, if it can sustain this and get up above that. That would make it look a lot nicer chart. So none of these charts as a whole would look very good, but ideally you have a good, strong overall market, and then when you go down to sectors or stocks, you have a better chance because right now, with the whole markets being in a precarious situation, things can go down pretty quickly. So, it's not a great scenario, but I've got another watch list called Sector ETFs. I'm going to turn off the pre-market just because there's a lot of weird stuff goes on in the morning. Some of the percent gains on stocks is really high because there's hardly any volume. But you can see that, like if I scroll down, tons of red here. All sorts of things. A lot of the inflation stuff, because they said they were going to raise interest rates, which everybody knew, 0.5%. And so you had a big drop in silver, copper, gold, GDXJ, junior miners, uranium, 8.3%. And also the tech, RK, is continuing to go down. So it kind of came up for a bit, got close to the 50, just above, and then now it's turning down again. And there's a down-sloping momentum. So even the alternative energy stuff. So a lot of negativity yesterday. And so there's only a few things that hung in there. So, you can't just look at one day, but if you look at TBF, that's an inverse of the Treasury. So TLT is the bond fund, 20-year, and you have this really nice uptrend. I mean, I don't think these rates go up a huge amount, like in terms of percent gains, but people are putting their money into these types of things, inverse funds, in the dollar. So there's things you can do, and then there's a hedge ETF that doesn't look very good. When I see a chart as well, I don't just look at like a green candle or above the 50. I look at kind of what's happening, and it's a very volatile up and down. I'd like to see more of a smooth incline. So there's a couple things recently that airlines were, mentioning the profits were going. People are starting to travel again. So we've poked up above the 200 and the 50, but the 50 should get up above the 200. But this has a higher low here. Now it's moving up. And we had that here as well, but it never got above the 200. So it's made a few attempts. You get a few higher low here, from here to here, from here to here, but now it's supported at the 50, and we're up above the 200. So that's one to keep an eye on. That's airlines and stuff. You can click on this related items tab, which I really like, because then you see all the stocks in that ETF, and then you can click on these and go right to the chart. And you can scan as well the whole the whole ETF for your whatever conditions you want. So yeah, that's coffee. It's up. It was up 4%, but it's stuck a little bit between underneath the 50. But you know, the momentum's getting closer up to zero. But we'll have to see what happens. But so there's not very much in terms of the yesterday's gains, and we'll see. You know, there's to me a volatile, emotional market, and so it makes it trickier for people that are sort of trading, even if it's short swing trading. It's up and down quite a bit. So if you want to, you know, you can look at weekly charts and sort of focus on those, and try to avoid the swings, you know, the daily. But everyone knew the 0.5% was going to happen, so I'm not sure why, you know, everybody dropped everything so much. But all right, so yeah, if you want to get TC2000, check out the link in the description below. I'm using it. I love it. It's you can get a free trial or $25 off your purchase if you use the link below. And hopefully you guys that have got this program are enjoying it as much as I am. And we'll talk to you in the next video.